Hey future doctors, or should I say future decision makers. Today's video is all about the hard questions you should be asking yourself before deciding to pursue medical school. I've shied away from making this video just because who am I to tell you what to do, right? I'm no one to tell you what to do, but students ask me all the time whether I think they're ready to apply, whether they should be applying at all. I've had comments on this channel about should I pursue medicine, and while I can't tell you that, I can kind of help you dig into the realities of the journey, the challenges of the profession, and even kind of like the unpopular opinions, right? So med school may not be the right path for you, and that's okay. Like I said, I struggle to kind of write this out and do a video for you, but I want to make sure that you are making an informed decision. Med school is a massive investment financially, emotionally, mentally, life-wise, right? So I guess these are the questions that I would ask if you were kind of on the fence. Are you doing it for the right reasons, right? So why do you want to go to medical school? There are red flags that I listen to all the time, which is I want to make a lot of money, especially my students that, this kind of could sound not great, not PC, but a lot of students who are coming from abroad who want financial security. They kind of see this career as or law and medicine as the two options that their families are giving them. And so are you applying because that you only see these two kind of options, or you only see this as your one option? There are so many other avenues in healthcare if you want to serve patients, right? Or if you're interested in the human body and service. And so you want to kind of think about if you're doing this for the right reasons. And then I guess, do you understand the time commitment? So med school is 4 years. Residency can be 3 to 7 years. Say you do a fellowship, which is optional, but 1 to 3 years. So it could be at least 7 years after undergrad. And then that's just kind of starting to practice independently, right? The financial cost, average med school tuition is anywhere between 40 and 60K for in-state, 60 to 90 for private schools. Average student loans could be 250. You'll be paying off loans well into your 30s and 40s. And are you good with the lifestyle sacrifices, right? You may be working more than 80 hours a week. That takes a toll on personal relationships, hobbies take a back seat. And so you want to ask yourself, am I prepared for the sacrifices in time, money, and lifestyle? Will I find this rewarding, 7 years of down the road, or 10 years after training? So another question that I think is tough to ask is, how do you handle stress and failure? So med school can be, testing your resiliency academically, emotionally, physically. You can fail an exam or struggle in a clinical rotation, face imposter syndrome throughout the entire, I am lucky to work with both pre-meds, but also MS4 is applying to residency. And so, imposter syndrome is something that happens, it feels like every stage of the application or the kind of preparation process. And so are you willing to kind of work through that, fight through that? Are you willing to really test out resilience? Resilience is one of those funky, popular buzzwords right now that sound great to say I have resilience, but when you are being tested, when you are proving your resilience, when you're in the trenches, it doesn't feel so hot. It's kind of you want to kind of think about that. Also kind of the glamorous myths versus the realities. Doctors spend a lot of time on paperwork, on billing, on dealing with insurance companies. It's not just finding that a crazy diagnosis. Some patients can be difficult, ungrateful. There's an emotional toll to it. You're witnessing patient suffering. Doctors have a higher risk of depression and suicide compared to other kind of patient or other populations demographics in our communities. So are you prepared for these day-to-day experiences? And are you open to other alternatives? So pursuing medicine isn't the only way to have a meaningful career within healthcare, right? I've had students that have started applying to med school and end up as MPs, end up as physician assistants, which is 2 to 3 years of training, similar clinical responsibilities at the primary health level, let's say. A nurse practitioner, right? Advanced nursing role, they focus more on patient care. Public health professionals focus on health policy, community health. They love the research aspect. You can have just medical research. Health administration, so you're leading and managing healthcare organizations at the more kind of macro systems level. So you want to make sure that you're thinking that the physician role is the one role for you. Also, what are your values and priorities? There's a lifestyle versus calling. Medicine is a calling for many, but it's okay if your priorities aren't aligned with the sacrifices it demands, right? So you want to make sure, if you value work-life balance, financial freedom, flexibility, that you are really thinking about this intentionally as you are planning your medical careers. Not that you can't have it, that it can be more difficult or more challenging to have it. So you want to be very intentional as to how you do it and how you craft your career specifically. If after all of these questions, you're like, nope, the physician role, that is for me, medicine is for me, awesome, amazing, right? And sometimes I was thinking about, you can almost use this video in reverse, right? There are interview questions specifically as like, why do you want to be a physician versus anything else? You can invert any of these answers, any of these questions into how the career of physician is the only thing for you. So just, I wanted to kind of put this out there. This isn't typical content. It won't be typical content for this channel, but because I've had comments on this channel now for a couple years about making a case for it, I kind of just wanted to share some of the questions that I've kind of had circulating within my groups, whether it's pre-meds or MS4s, and want to share that. And I'm hoping that you are finding your path, whatever that path looks like, right? So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Really come back for the writing tips, because I love to work with pre-meds. I love to work with students that are pursuing medicine. So if that is for you and you want to learn about how I work with students to elevate your message, because messaging is key, grab your spot on my calendar and we can get started. Good luck. Take care and go for your dreams, whatever that may be. Have a good one. Bye.